Like all of the Bomber Jr. videos to date, this one spans across several months, so if there's a lack of continuity between the color and different shots, now you know why. I'm going to show you what I've already done to this point in a diagram to maintain your attention and earn myself some sweet video retention, then I'll repeat myself with what it looks like in reality. First, I ran a 12 gauge wire from the positive side of the battery to the relay. Then another wire from the negative side of the battery to the ground terminal. Then I ran the same size wire from the switched side of the relay to the fuse block. Then an 18 gauge wire from the key switch to the relay trigger terminal. So this is what I've already done. This is the switch to the lights. Don't tell Skylar I used one of these, but I did interrupt the key on switch because something about these golf carts, like everything seems to be connected to the battery. So I tapped into the key on switch, which triggers this, which is just a relay, which comes from the battery with a little bit heavier wire, but then that goes into this fuse box, which distributes the power. So I got one for the lights, one for a fun little thing you're going to see here in a minute, which I got to figure out where that's going to go to, actually. But yeah, so I'm going to have two circuits, but this little guy, when you throw it in reverse, it makes that noise, and that happens whether or not you have the key on. So I'm actually going to interrupt this. Here, let me turn that annoying sound off. I'm going to make this switchable because it is handy to have when I'm at shows and stuff like that, but when I'm just mobbing it around, I don't want to deal with that. So I'm going to be able to interrupt that. Then we've got an air raid siren, and then just the lights. So pretty simple stuff. I think if I do put the underglows on it, I'm going to wind up just having them come on with the key. I showed how I mounted the brake lights in the last video, but now that we're talking electricity, I'll show you the three-way connectors I use to make it quick and easy to remove them for painting purposes or replacement if needed. And I chose these teardrop style lights because they were pretty reasonably priced and the closest low-profile option I could find to fit the style of the cart. I removed the bullet connectors they came with and soldered and heat shrink the new connectors on. Wiring the brake pedal switch is pretty straightforward. I screwed the pedal switch to the pedal, but I'll leave it bigger to make it easier to follow along. I ran a wire from one side of the fuse panel to the pedal, and then the other side from the switch to the bright side of the brake lights, and finally for the tail lights I wired them directly to a fuse in the block that'll come on with the key. This will help me see at a glance if the key is on. In pursuit of a proper horn, I opted for an air raid siren. This is like, I don't even think it was 30 bucks on Amazon. But lucky for me, there's already these holes drilled right here for a 1/4x20 bolt. And I think that's going to be a perfect spot. Ooh. Well, I'm going to have to put a spacer in there. But I think I can get away with mounting it right there. The only problem is this piece rests right against the nose panel. So I think I'm going to try to countersink that just enough to let that thing sit in there nice and flush. I think that'll be our perfect spot to mount that. Go real slow, I don't want to tear it up too much. More. A little bit more. I don't want it to rub through the front. Not perfectly flush, but I just looked at it and it has kind of a little bit of a rise that comes down the center here, so it probably won't come in contact with the hood. I think we'll do that. I'm going to put a kind of a jam nut in there to be a spacer. I was thinking I'd have to cut it, and I don't think I will. This is just a regular 1/4x20 nut. Can I do it without taking this part off? Just need to grab a couple of threads. Got it. 7/16. If it works. It works. Good. I think that was going to be the hardest part, unless we decide to do underglows. Now I'll start working on the dash. So I made this instrument panel here, like I said, going for that old aircraft look, but I did this out of PLA. It's spray painted. I just know it isn't going to last very long. This thing isn't going to get to be inside. It's going to travel a lot. It's going to see some weather. So this is my prototype, and then once I got everything to fit, this I 3D printed in ABS, and then it has a clear coat, and I just used a paint pen to get the markings on there. So that's the first thing, but we got to do a little surgery on the dashboard first. Before I go cutting all this out willy-nilly, I want to leave as much material here as I can just for strength. So what I'm going to do is mark my first hole, and I'm actually going to try to tap this stuff because I don't have any number 8 nuts. I might have to grab some. I think I'm going to want them, but I am going to actually drill and tap those to hold it in place for the time being. And to do that, I got these from Harbor Freight. Super duper handy, especially with 3D printed stuff. But it's got up to 1/4 by 20 that you can drill and tap at the same time. So I got number 8s here, so that's what we're gonna do. And again, I'm tapping fiberglass, which would probably hold it. I'm thinking we're gonna want a little bit more than that. Starting with the bottom one. I'm just gonna kind of mark where I want it. I think that's fiberglass. Maybe that's ABS too. That might actually be okay. Check and see what happens here. Yep. It's like that. That is the coolest. Okay. That's one. Yeah, I think with a dab of thread locker on that, I don't know if it works on plastic or not, but I don't know why it wouldn't. Just a little something, because she's going to get a lot of vibration. Did it walk on me a little bit? It did walk on me a little bit. Come on now, here we go. You got this. Might have to open up the mounting holes a little bit. Nope, I got it. Just got her tight. Okay, so that'll do for now. I'm gonna go ahead and mark these other ones. Okay, so now I'm gonna mark where all this stuff is, and then we'll pull it off and figure how much we gotta cut out. We'll try it with this. I won't get paint all over my nice. Oh boy. think we'll start off by drilling out one of these holes, putting a switch in to see how much we need for them to fit width-wise. Hopefully it doesn't go past that point right there. I should have gave it plenty when I measured it out before. That I'll use a step bit. Whoa! Way too much. Alright, so I think we'll take this whole, I don't know if you can see my marks, but I think we'll take that whole section out, top to bottom, just before the rib. It seems to give it some strength. Oh, and it's got a thing back there. I'm going to be taking away a little bit of the structural stuff, but hopefully this being ABS will make up for it. So we'll cut that out, and then these I'll just make those holes big enough. Again, just trying to leave as much material in there to keep it as strong as possible. Then we gotta figure out how we're gonna cut this without a hole saw. Giving those guys plenty of room to fit in there. Just a 10mm hole is all it needs, but I'm gonna go about a half. Give me room to wiggle. Oh, maybe more on that one. Nope. We'll just kind of do that same thing on these. Okay, so I'll figure out what I'm going to use to cut this section out and all that and come back. Still don't know how to use this camera. So, not pretty, but I'll end up having to take more of that out than I originally wanted to, and there's some little structural ribs down there that I had to cut through that I didn't really want to. This is still the PLA version, and I think it'll fit. And I think it's going to be easier to transfer everything over to the ABS than to mount the panel. So let's switch everything over, except for the bottom, no, except for the top one. We've already got that switch back here, hopefully I gave, yeah. All right, so we're going to do that. Well, I'm about out of battery, but I'm gonna hurry and wire this up. There's not enough room to get the camera in to show you what I'm doing. So here's a nice diagram of how I did it. I'll just animate it for you. To start wiring the instrument panel, I picked a fuse and ran a wire to the headlight switch. Then from the switch to the headlight, and jumper wires went to the indicator light and one to the backlight of the voltmeter. I went from another fuse to the horn switch, then to the siren, complete with the jumper to the indicator. I hijacked the wire going to the backup alarm and rerouted it to the last switch, and then from the switch back over to the backup alarm. When I attached the jumper wire here, I put it on the side of the switch that is powered by the backup indicator. So even if the alarm is off, the indicator will tell me the cart's in reverse. And as far as you know, I totally did that on purpose. The last thing to do was run a wire from the fuse block to the voltmeter, and then obviously everything was grounded to the chassis or battery. Well, it's a little darker now. Had a few other things to do in between, but it did take a little bit longer than I thought it was going to. As you can see, it looks exactly like the animation. I really envisioned it being a lot cleaner wiring job, but it's the same as the other golf cart. Like, I'm not going to make an excuse. I had to hurry. So far, everything works. I've got everything tested. It's working good. I got to get it all back together right now. The only thing I didn't do is the underglow. We'll see how that goes. I don't know if that's going to happen tonight. We got a monster truck show in Elko where I bought this thing a year and now half ago. Then tomorrow morning I got to head to Ogden, Utah for Weekend on the Edge, which is Edge Products owned by Holly. If you're a gearhead, they're all intertwined down there. So they're doing a big dyno and a truck and tractor pull, mostly truck pull, that I'll be announcing down there before going back to Idaho Falls, where I will be taking this. So I think I explained it in the animation, but I wanted to be able to turn off that buzzer. The good news is, the way I wired the indicator light, it'll tell me when I'm in reverse. The red light will come on when I switch it into reverse, whether or not the signal's on. Then I can turn that backup alarm on if I need to do so. So that all works, but the air raid siren works good. And yeah, that'll pretty much complete this part of it. I got to put the hood back on, but other fun stuff coming up with this. 3D print some little props that are going to go on it. So those will all be coming up in another video, but thank you so much for watching. I'm Kenny. This is Sagebrush Soul. May the best of your past be the worst of your future.